Today, I want to share with you the camera setup that helped me create this. Well, this too, but this. What is going on, everyone? Vacation's great, but it's great to be back. So sorry there was no YouTube video last week. Last week my in-laws invited to go to a cruise to Bermuda, and how could you say no to that? It was much needed vacation, but I ended up working on a wedding video first 2 days of the cruise, and my plan to create YouTube video was not looking too good. I started to film what I thought was gonna be a really good vlog, but honestly guys, I was just so tired, and I just kept getting into these creative blocks. On top of that, you try to mix in two of my very young kids with my full-size A7 III camera setup, and my rate of successful take was just getting lower and lower as the vacation went by. Even my B-rolls felt like it was done before, and I just didn't feel fresh, you know? This is just kind of hard for me because B-rolls my thing. Just having a challenging week. Around the same time though, I was doing some Instagram stories with the vertical experimental gimbal setup with my RX100, and it hit me. What if I go all out B-roll with this setup and vlog in 15-second intervals? At that moment, my creativity block was gone with the wind. Seriously guys, it was super windy in the middle of the ocean. Yeah, more on that later. That's the thing about Instagram stories. You can have gaps in your story and you don't have to nail your talking points for minutes at a time. Even for B-rolls, it was refreshing experience going vertical. Once I got used to it, it was actually easier to frame things since you're dealing with a very narrow frame. I was able to really focus on the subject without a bunch of people getting on the story on the side and show off the tallness of the cruise. I mean, it was 16-story high because it's freaking vertical. Let me show you the actual camera setup. So this, at a first glance, is a very strange setup, especially to a professional videographer. The whole point of having a point and shoot camera like this RX100 Mark 5A is that it's supposed to be small and stealthy, which this is not. The trade-off here is that there were a lot of benefits added to this setup. Let's start with this cage. In order to turn the camera vertically, I either have to put in an L bracket or a cage. And I thought, you know, RX100 is a beast of a camera. It belongs in a cage. So I got this. This cage is by Small Rig, and it is beautiful. It literally is the smallest small rig I've seen. It fits this tiny RX100 Mark 5A perfectly. It's secured by this round opening with the hex key. So I do admit, if you lose this hex wrench during a trip, you might also lose your mind, but you know, something to consider. But it does make metal to metal contact. As you may know, RX100 can get hot and may overheat when you record 120 frames per second or 4K in a hot weather. I can tell you I chased a chicken for 20 minutes straight in a 90 degrees Bermuda sun with this cage, and the camera did not overheat. I mean, I overheated. I was about to pass out, but not this camera. Also, you know that battery door issue where if you screw anything to RX100, you can't easily open the battery compartment for fast battery swap? Yup, that issue is gone with this cage. 1/4-inch screw hole is to the side now, and especially being vertical, you can just pop the battery door open like this and get the battery out or the SD card out right away. These multiple 1/4-inch screw holes also allow you to use any mini tripod vertically for Instagram stories. The one I use is this Sony SGR1 shooting grip. I like this one since it's got the record button built in right in the front, which is perfect for those 50-second vlog with the double V. It's French, which stands for vertical vlog. Also, when you try to balance the RX100 on an even smaller gimbal like Weebill Lab, it's still too light to balance it well. I mean, it still works unbalanced, as you may have seen on my older vlogs, but this cage adds a little bit more weight, and Weebill Lab is just so much more happier with this extra weight. Lastly, this cage protects this camera like an armor. If you watch my IGTV video fully, there's a transition where it looks like I dropped the camera on the bottom of the bumper car. Yeah, that actually happened. So during that bumper car race, if you even call it a race, they announced that it was my wife and I's 15th anniversary. Yeah, we've been married for a long time. So everyone in that bumper car race was after us, and some kid just head-on collision us, and I dropped the camera on the floor. And it was metal to metal contact, clank, clank, clank. Yeah, it was horrible. But the camera survived. I mean, small nick here and there, but it's completely fine. But I got a transition out of it. So when I got out of the bumper car, I saw this sign outside. It says fuel, and I just did a little slider shot and just shook the camera afterwards and reversed that clip and stitched those clips together. And there you go. You have that transition. For extra protection though, I do recommend this screen protector. I mean, you can see this is my third screen protector. As you can see, there's some cracks on it. Yeah, and the crack, it's only on the screen protector. The actual screen on the camera, it's fine. If you care about your camera, you should definitely invest in one of those. So I mentioned wind before. Although RX100 Mark V, it has a really good voice detecting built-in microphone, it cannot stand under any kind of wind. Forget light wind, I was by the ocean like the whole time, right? My heavily gel hair wasn't even a match for this kind of wind. So here's a solution I've been using for a while now. Yes, every kid will walk up to you and ask why your camera is here. And if you're Asian like me, you just have to explain that you couldn't grow a full beard, so you decided to grow on your camera instead. This is called Micro Windjammer, and it's by Rycote. You get 6 reusable mini dead cats and 30 double-sided tape, and at first I wasn't sure how it was gonna like stay on my RX100. I can tell you that it's been like 3 months since I used it. It stays on. The only drawback of having this Windjammer is that it does block some things. First, it covers the power button. It doesn't take away the functionality though, since you just have to press the power button through the dead cat. You just have to get used to it though, knowing where the power button is. Second, it does block part of the screen when you flip the screen up. This is probably the biggest drawback since the screen isn't like the biggest screen in the camera world. You can still check for exposure and some framing, but it does block about like 1/3 of the screen. I think it's still worth it though when it comes to like really windy situations. I mean, like these shots would have been like unusable in the wind. So there's a sunset happening right there. Do you see that sun ray? Oh my goodness. So check out my feed. This might be the best picture I've ever taken, guys. All right. I should also note that this hairy setup does work with the small rig cage. There's a small gap on top, and this Windjammer fits like perfectly under that. It's like small rig knew it was like gonna be a thing. Now let's talk about this gimbal. This is Zhiyun Weebill Lab, probably the most innovative yet controversial gimbal at this time. I'll admit there's just problems, okay? But here's one more thing that makes this gimbal unique and like worth the purchase. This gimbal can handle heavy load and light load. To me, that light side of the scale is also important since I can put a small camera like this and not carry a second gimbal for my boats A7 III and RX100. Some gimbals, when you put a lightweight camera like this, it will just freak out and like start to vibrate. With this cage mounted vertically, this gimbal can make some smooth movements with RX100. This was a really good setup for these B-rolls and for the vertical vlogs. So I had to ask, why not use a phone and a small phone gimbal, right? If you watched it this far, I'm hoping this philosophy will reward you in your journey. To me, the next level philosophy I follow is be different than the crowd. It's a journey, but ultimately being you. At the end of the day, I'm trying to create content that stands out. If my footage look like everyone else, I'll lose some value in my work. And let me tell you, everyone on that boat was filming on their phone. I mean, don't get me wrong, nothing's wrong with filming on a phone. I think it's great that everyone has a chance to create amazing content with something that's already in their pocket. I mean, some of these phones' rear camera can put this RX100 to shame. The reason for my setup here was that my iPhone doesn't have great low light capabilities on the front facing camera. The RX100 flip out screen lets me film myself in the dark as I check my frame on the screen. It has built-in ND filters so I can still open up my aperture to like 1.8 on a sunny day. It also has a great dynamic range and variety of color profiles so I can get these nice sunrise shots and grade it to make it more cinematic. Compared to a large full frame camera gimbal setup, this was just what I needed to like differently simplify and get out of my creative funk. And to create creative videos, you don't need this exact setup, but I think it can open up many creative outlets to those who are trying to push the Instagram video to like the next level. So I hope this video made you think of some new creative ideas on gears and give different perspectives. I'll keep trying to make more vertical Instagram content so one day I can go over some cinematic vertical framing and editing techniques. Now that I'm back from my vacation, I'll also try to keep uploading YouTube videos every week. If you guys want to like catch more behind the scene or why I'm not uploading to YouTube all of a sudden, follow me on Instagram and see what I'm up to. Alright guys, hope you make it a great week, and remember, be different even if you're on the same boat. See you later.